Good afternoon. Thank you very much to the organisers for accepting this session. My name is Martin Donnelly. Um, I spoke actually at a previous Moonin conference a couple of years ago when I was in a different role working in research data management at the University of Edinburgh. I've since moved to the Royal Society of Chemistry, but still have the same passion and the same interest in joining up the different perspectives, the different stakeholders' perspectives in the scholarly communication process. So what I'm going to be talking about here is publishers as partners, what we in the Royal Society of Chemistry and other publishers can do to work more closely with other stakeholders in the scholarly endeavour. So first of all, I should say that open science is very much integral to the Royal Society of Chemistry's mission, which is to support the chemical sciences community in making the world a better place. We consider it to be vital for addressing global challenges at a quicker pace than before and in fundamentally different and more collaborative ways. We believe that the greater openness and transparency, the greater the quality, robustness, longevity, trustworthiness, and global impact of research and research outcomes. We do recognise that some publishers have not always been willing collaborators in the journey towards open, but as a non-profit organisation, or rather a not-for-profit organisation, we believe we have an important role to play here. I'll end by talking a little bit about what we've done at the Royal Society of Chemistry, what we still have to do, and then I hope that after this presentation, which is being pre-recorded of course, as are all the presentations, we can have a short discussion on the concrete actions we might take to work together more effectively. So at the RSC, we trace our roots back to 1848, and we're, of course, not only a publisher, but also a learned society, and as such, we're concerned with advancing chemistry as a science, developing its applications, and disseminating chemical knowledge, which is done via our publishing operations. We always seek a holistic organisational approach, and our publishing activities influence and are strongly influenced by our work in areas such as research culture, advocacy, and diversity and inclusion. While we are headquartered in the UK, we are firmly international in our outlook, and as this map shows, we have offices not only in the UK, in London and Cambridge, but also in the USA, in Germany, and in India, China, and Japan. Our international character is also evidenced by our author base. We have, as you can see from this infographic, in 2020 we had authors published from 128 countries, so we're very much an international enterprise, and we're very keen to remain so. We have an organisational belief that openness is the future, and it's entirely consistent with our mission, which is to foster and encourage the growth and application of chemical science by the dissemination of chemical knowledge. What we need to do is find the right way to get there. So, as I mentioned before, we believe that openness is good for everyone, not only for researchers, research organisations, the general public. People are quite familiar with these. We also believe that it's good for us as a publisher. Fundamentally, the more open that the research that we publish is, the greater the trust in effectively our product. We recognise that research is a cumulative and very much interlinked ecosystem, and loss of trust in just one paper can trickle down and corrode trust in the entire enterprise. So it's very much in publishers' interests for trust to be maintained and to be underlined. We do acknowledge, I acknowledge, we acknowledge that publishers have not always been willing fellow travellers in the journey towards openness. I've put mea culpa, which is Latin for my fault, but I think it's our fault. And the RSC has employed me to help to accelerate our transition towards not only open access but open science. I think primarily because I'm not a publisher by trade. My background, as I mentioned at the very start of the presentation, is in academia, in research and supporting research, and latterly as a member of staff at a research library. So I come to this to this role from something of a different position, one where we have, I have in previous roles experienced the frustrations that those in research organisations have felt with publishers, and very much want the RSC to be considered as a good faith fellow traveller in the journey towards openness. Having said that, like all publishers, we have concerns about the transition towards open. Not so much the direction of travel or the ultimate destination, but in the route map for getting there and the speed at which the transition takes place. So while we're not we don't operate for profit, we do still have to keep the lights on and remain sustainable. So in addition to the work that we do in organising peer review and preserving the scholarly record, the publications-oriented tasks that we do, our publishing revenue also supports worthy activities like advocacy, awareness raising, education, early career research or development, and lots of other worthy activities. So the ultimate goal of all of this really is to level the playing field for everyone. The theme of the recent Open Access Week, which took place last month, is about building structural equity, and in our tiered and transparent pricing, we're looking to be as equitable as possible. Many colleagues will be familiar with the cartoon here, which shows the difference between reality and then importantly the difference between equality and equity. So treating everyone equally doesn't address underlying systemic issues, but providing a more equitable approach does. So that's very much what we are about. Recent open science progresses that we've made, I mentioned before our focus on diversity and inclusion. We've recently adopted the credit roles taxonomy, which gives everyone from the authors to the data scientists and all sorts of different roles the appropriate credit for their contribution to a paper or to a piece of research. We've signed up to the Declaration on Research Assessment, and we're committed to reducing focus on impact factors, as this nice tweet here shows. We have introduced double anonymised peer review in our Diamond Open Access flagship journal, Chemical Science, which as a Diamond journal, it's obviously free to publish in and to read. We've introduced and are in the process of normalizing data availability statements, and we're hoping to expand that to software and protocol sharing at some point. And a really important bit of work that we're doing is increasing our engagement with our peers, learned in society, publishers, open access publishers, via these groupings. We have lots in common with these with the colleagues in these groupings, and we want to make more of that. In terms of ongoing work and future plans, we're increasing our engagement with open science, and a big part of my job is to try to work more collaboratively with funders and other stakeholders. We have more work to do in surfacing and making more of a thing of our tiered and transparent pricing. And then what I think is the sort of the most important link here is metadata. We really need to think about the metadata that we are sharing and how it connects as linked open data. So the citations in our articles have been open since early 2017, but we do accept that there is much more to be done here. So I end with a call to action really, which is let's talk. How can we work together as a publisher and as an effective partner in getting us further and faster towards an open science future. We've been organising and keying into events, both in person and virtual and hybrid, and this is obviously one of them. And we've been doing information and perspective sharing via roundtables and symposia and things like that. But if there are other forms of connection, please do get in touch. Tell us what works for you. How can we help? We know that we have information. We know that we have skills. We know that we have experience that can inform the acceleration towards an open future. So we very much want to hear from you, whether you're a funder, whether you're a researcher, or whatever part of the scholarly ecosystem you occupy. So thank you very much. These are my contact details, and I'll be very happy to speak with anyone who wants to get in touch.